Okay, I think we're on. Just testing the sound. There's such a delay. Okay, we're good to go, I think. Okay, hello, one and all. Welcome back to This Week in Twitter with your host, Christ Scourge. And it's a pretty juicy. I mean, I feel like every week is pretty juicy. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of weird and crazy things going on in the world. Every week, I am flabbergasted by just how much weirdness is going on. And there's quite a mixed bag in here. Less Trump this week. Less Trump stuff this week. There is a bit. I don't think there will be a week where there isn't some Trump stuff, but yeah, definitely a lot less this week, but there's definitely some notable stuff, though, stuff that you wouldn't expect. I don't know how widespread some of this knowledge is, so I'm happy to bring some of these stories to you if you haven't heard them before. But yeah, let's kick things off, though, with this first story. Just a little, starting off with some light stuff. Canada apparently has a new unelected prime minister. So this guy is essentially being touted as the next prime minister. I'm assuming he will probably take power at some point eventually. I know that Trudeau has decided to step down, apparently. I mean, that's what I hear. I'm assuming that is what is going on, and people are talking about it. This person wrote an article about him. Now, they don't seem to have very favorable views of this guy, so let's see what she said here. This guy has spent several years selling a new version of neo-colonial debt slavery as sustainable, quote-unquote, development. A complete snake. Please read my past reports on his predatory endeavors here. So let's take a quick look at this article. Let's see what's going on. So, UN-backed Banker Alliance announces green plan to transform the global financial system. The most powerful private financial interests in the world, under the cover of COP26, have developed a plan to transform the global financial system by fusing with institutions like the World Bank and using them to further erode national sovereignty in the developing world. I don't know if you guys can see this very well. Let me just see if this is showing up okay on screen. Come on now, this latency, man. I wish it was less latent. Yeah, no, it's okay. We can see everything on there, so that's not too bad. All right, then. So, on Wednesday, an industry-led and UN-convened alliance of private banking and financial institutions announced plans at the COP26 conference to overhaul the role of global and regional financial institutions, including the World Bank and IMF, as part of a broader plan to transform the global financial system. But what into, though? This all seems very vague. The officially stated purpose of this proposed overhaul per alliance members is to promote the transition to a net zero economy. However, the group's proposed reimagining of international financial institutions, according to their recently published progress report, would also move to merge these institutions with the private banking interests that compose the alliance, create a new system of global financial governance, and erode national sovereignty among developing countries by forcing them to establish business environments deemed friendly. So basically, they want to grant loans to people doing what they want to do and not grant loans to people that they see as not going along with their green plan, I guess. I'm assuming that's what's being said here. In other words, the powerful banking interests that compose this group are pushing to recreate the entire global financial system for their benefit under the guise of... I mean, is it to recreate it, or is it to... It's already that. Right? It's already that thing. They're just changing the thing that it is from oil to, like, sustainable energy. So they're going to monopolize that. They're going to use that as their bargaining chip, nuclear energy, building all that kind of stuff. They want to probably put their own, they want to be able to invest in, like, dams to make, like, water energy, like hydro energy or some shit, probably, like, in some random country somewhere They want to be able to strong arm those deals and stuff. That's kind of the line I'm going down here. Right? I'm assuming this is like where they want to go with this, which makes sense. It's the same thing they did with oil. Now they just want to do the same kind of thing, but with like green shit, right? That's to kind of be expected, no? You know, if you're this fired up about the green stuff, why are you not fired up about it now? I don't know. I mean, maybe they are. Maybe I have no idea what this woman writes about, but this alliance called the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero, GFANZ, okay, was launched in April by John Kerry, U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate Change, Janet Yellen, blah, 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 all these fucking people. You could look into them if you want. I don't care. Former chair of the Bank of England and Bank of Canada. Carney is also the UK Prime Minister's financial advisor for the blah, blah, blah conference. So these people have incredible... Oh, and Michael Bloomberg's involved. Okay, great. So we've got like a lot of very influential, high-level people in the economy, people who are the defenders of the status quo, the architects of the status quo, the people who want to do mass migration, the people who want to do heavy-handed transitions into green energy without thinking about consequences, stuff like that, forcing vaccines on you and stuff. All that lovely stuff. All that stuff that we love. We know and love them for. We got you guys. Love you guys. Thank you. Thank you for unleashing COVID on us all. On its creation, GFANZ stated that it would... GFANZ just sounds like some kind of pornography thing. I'm not going to lie. It really does. Probably just because of OnlyFans and it says fans on it. And the other thing is... What is it? Fansly or something? No, the word fans kind of seems like it's associated with porn now, unfortunately. G-fans just does sound like a porn thing. Gooner fans. I don't know. And it's got a Z on it like a Zoomer thing. Anyway, whatever. Stated that it would provide a forum for strategic coordination among the leadership of financial institutions and blah, 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 from across the finance sector to accelerate the transition to a net zero code. Yeah, so it's literally exactly what I said. Heavy-handed transitions into green energy. And hey, I will say, people go on about, I don't know why people are afraid of green energy. Whether or not we need oil or not anyway, we should still be going towards that regardless, right? But I do think the way you go about it does matter, right? Because you do run the risk of like, if you do it in a too heavy-handed way, you push for that too quickly, you might not be able to roll out or make green energy sustainable or get to all the people as much as you could. You could even run into problems that you unforeseen where you end up having blackouts or whatever because you're relying on green energy. It's not always necessarily coming in because maybe you don't have nuclear yet because it's not been built yet or something. And if you're too heavy-handed, you try and force the transition too quickly, too hard. Like, you know, you could be looking at actually putting a lot of people's lives on the line, you know, with this stuff. So, you know, you have got to be careful, I think. I think you have got to be careful. I don't know what their real plans are. But hey, hopefully they don't fuck it up. Who knows? But I don't know why anyone's surprised that they would be like monopolizing or like capitalizing on this situation. I mean, I anticipated this would be the case a long time ago, that they would eventually make a move to basically do what they did with the oil industry with the green energy stuff. It just seemed obvious. Anyway, notably, I'll skip along here because I'm not going to read this whole thing, but you can read it if you want. You know, I'm sure you can find this. It's on unlimitedhangout.com. Anyway, so notably, another Rockefeller-connected entity, the Rockefeller Foundation. Oh, flew in the name. Recently, you can just say the Rockefeller Foundation also got involved in this. Another Rockefeller-connected... I mean, yeah, obviously. What? Recently played a pivotal role in the creation of Natural Asset Corporation's NACs. In September, these NACs seek to create a new asset class that would put the natural world, as well as the ecological processes that underpin all life, up for sale under the guise of protecting them. So privatizing for protection. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, actually, there is some interesting stuff in here, I will say. This is probably actually a very good article. It's written a little clunkily, I will say. But there does seem to actually be some pretty decent information in here. So, probably worth looking into. Looks like this guy's connected to this kind of shady, new oligarchical system that is coming into force right now that has, you know, probably been brewing for a while, but is now kind of seeing more fruition in this. So maybe we'll see Canada accelerate itself even further, perhaps, than it already has been under Trudeau. Who knows? We'll see how that goes. Next up, in Nigeria, Nigeria has banned pornography. Ladies and gentlemen, banned pornography. So let's have a listen. I don't know if I think they speak English in Nigeria in their parliament houses. I think. If they're not speaking English and there's no subtitles, then I'll fuck it off. But let's have a little listen to this clip. Let's just see what they have to say about it.
Block internet websites hosting pornographic contents and sanction defaulting internet service providers, standing in the name of Honorable Alatu Shehu.
Did he say sanction internet providers? So any internet provider that allows pornography on their service, like to be accessed, will get sanctioned, apparently. Wow.
Honorable Tafoki is invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker,
wow.
Very distinguished colleagues,
Packed. Look at that. Oh, I mean, I thought the UK Houses of Parliament were bad. Jesus.
Main Honorable Engineer Shehu Alhatu Tafoki, representing Paskari, Kankara Sabwa Federal Constituency, I'm from Katsina State. I rise to move a motion for the need to block internet website hosting pornographic content and
Western pornography content.
Service providers.
Wait, so does that mean African pornography content is okay? I don't understand the full. Maybe I'm missing something.
The House note that cyber pornography is fast becoming a global problem, and no concrete steps have been taken to curb the phenomenon of cyber pornography in Nigeria. Aware that Nigeria is a highly religious country, and all the major religions in the country have forbidden nudity and obscenity in any form. Also note that countries across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East have enacted legislation that ban pornography in their domains. Aware that...
I'm not gonna lie, I'm struggling to understand this guy. He's speaking English, but it's a combination of bad audio quality and also just a bit of a difficult accent. But as you can see, I mean, I'm not gonna belabor this, but they're essentially just banning porn over there. And I think it's very interesting. I find it very interesting, like, when things like this happen. And I would be interested to see, does this change anything for Nigeria? Like, can we look at Nigeria in 5 years' time and see if, like, maybe sexual crimes have gone up or down or something like that, you know? Like, or maybe sexual abuse of some kind, or... I don't know, maybe will the rift between men and women... That it does exist in Nigeria too, by the way. I see it on Twitter. Nigerian, African, different African countries as well, not just Nigeria, but I see it with Indian people as well. There's like Indian Twitter, there's all these Twitter spaces that kind of revolve around regions and stuff, and I've seen some, I've delved into some aspects, just by accident, to be honest, but just because I interact with some of these news stories, I guess, but you end up kind of going down these little rabbit holes sometimes, and you find yourself in Nigerian Twitter, and yeah, you do see these kinds of feminist talking points even in Nigeria these days. Lots of women with lots of likes and lots of interaction with it as well. So these obviously are fairly significantly popular points of view within the country, I would imagine. Even though it is religious, right? And they're saying that. But on the ground, it's always different, you know? Like, the way that the governments try to present themselves or present their country is always different to what is actually really there. But yeah, so we'll see if this actually bears any benefit for Nigeria. I don't know. I'm curious to know how this plays out in the future, but this is a long game kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know how we'll actually gauge that, but thought it was interesting though. Thought it was funny. Kind of funny. Nigerians banning porn. Speaking of Africans, we have a Ugandan judge, a UN judge in the UK, found guilty of keeping a woman as a slave in the UK. Ugandan UN judge Lydia Mungabe told police she had diplomatic immunity when they arrested her for keeping a woman as an unpaid servant in her Oxfordshire home. Oh man. Oh man. What are we gonna do, man? How are the BLM activists gonna explain this one? How are the progressives gonna explain this one? So, if you don't know, in certain places in Africa, Uganda being one, but there is others, slavery is still a common cultural practice. And this is because slavery existed in Africa a long time before Europeans showed up, just as it did exist in European countries too, long before they went to Africa. Okay, and we have obviously had an enlightenment and all that kind of stuff, and we kind of moved past a lot of that. But although you could frame certain elements of the capitalist system as perhaps like a kind of neo-slavery in a certain respect. I don't know if I would call quite that far, but those arguments can be made, I think. But in terms of outright slavery, we tend to frown on that at this point, right? And we're even trying to get rid of the kind of neo-slavery that occurs through capitalism too, which I think is a good endeavor, right? We should probably look for that as well. However, in some places in the world, they have not had those things. In fact, they have actively rejected them due to certain things like colonialism. So, for instance, places in Africa, much like Uganda, will have experienced slavery from all different angles, not even just from their own people, but also from outsiders like the Arabs or the Christians or whatever. And it's never really stopped for them, right? And also, when they have these colonial things happen to them, they want to reject the culture that kind of conquered them and stuff. So if their culture says, oh, we're not going to do slavery and stuff anymore, well, they go, well, maybe we think slavery is good for us, actually, which is obviously stupid, right? I'm not saying it's like a rational thing. I'm saying it's kind of like this weird cultural rejection thing, right? It's just like a psychological phenomenon, okay? Unfortunately, this has held back certain parts of the world, and some places do not see it as an issue. Now, I will say that the way that slavery works in places like Africa, it's not necessarily in the kind of most extreme way that we might think of, say, chattel slavery or something like that, right? It's a little bit more like, say I borrow some money from somebody and I lose my job, so I can't pay them back. So they'll say, okay, well, while you're looking for a job, for the next few months, you're going to come and do a bunch of work for me for free, okay? And if you don't do it, I'll either get the police or come around there and fucking beat the fuck out of you or some shit, right? So it will be like, there will be an element of coercion to it, right? But it'll usually be related to some kind of some kind of digression between the two, right? Between somebody, like some kind of altercation. So I do wonder, like, what were the circumstances around this? Like, what were the circumstances around this? And she lives in this country, right? She's in the UK. How has she lived here for so long and not known that this would be wrong? But also, I guess maybe she thought because of the style and the way that the slavery works, maybe she thought people wouldn't pick up on it, but I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Mugabe tricked her victim into coming to the UK. So she, oh, it wasn't even like related to a debt type thing or like a whatever, like a favor or something. It's actually just straight up, oh, we fucking tricked you into coming here. I just like one-guyed myself by not reading this, but a lot of these, I just read the headline and I read it live on air because I don't want to know too much. Some of it I know more than others, but yeah, I just read like the first little bit. I did not know they tricked them, forcing her to work without paying, threatening her when she resisted. Wow, the fairer sex, everybody, the fairer sex. If women ruled the world. No, I'm kidding. Oh, man. But yeah, Mugabe tricked her victim into coming to the UK, forced her to work. A jury at Oxford Crown Court convicted her on multiple charges, including facilitating travel for exploitation and forcing someone to work. Her alleged co-conspirator, Ugandan diplomat John Leonard So what was the conspiracy? Did they just sit down one day and go, listen, we just need a servant, man. We just need a slave. Should we just like fucking get on Craigslist and trick some random African into? Oh my god. Was the person Ugandan as well? Which woman? Who was tricked? Where did they come from? Does it say? Will this take? No, this is just a picture. Doesn't take me to the actual article or anything. But yeah, the diplomat's already fled to Uganda. Don't know what's happened to her. I guess she's been arrested, has she? Found guilty. Oh yeah, if she was found guilty, then she was arrested, of course. But yeah, mad, crazy stuff. Them Africans, those pesky Africans, they always be up to some crazy shit. I will say of the Africans in our country in the UK, definitely probably like some of the least of our worries. Like there's certain Africans that are more problematic than others, like maybe Somalians. But overall, I find like a lot of the Africans are pretty chill. I've not been too bothered with the Africans. There's been, I'm sure there's some, but it's definitely not as bad as other demographics. That's for sure. Next up, we have this again. Just a short story on this one. I'm not going to stay on this one for too long, but I thought it was like a funny little hypocritical thing. It's just one of those things that just really does tell you. Sometimes it's the little things that really tell you the truth about what is going on in this world. You know, how the elites look at things, how they go about their business, okay? The kind of hypocrisy of these people. So, stretch of Amazon rainforest. I can't even fucking talk. Stretch of Amazon rainforest destroyed to build 4-lane highway for upcoming COP30 climate summit. So you want to do a climate summit, so you build somewhere. Why do you even need to build a new place? Number one, why are we building a new place? For this meeting? I mean, if you were cutting down the rainforest for like housing and it was absolutely necessary, okay, I can start to take that argument. This is completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Not only that, they're building a massive highway to it. Like, what is this? What is this madness? For a climate summit. But yes, as stated here by Matt von Swall, it's not about the climate. It's about the ability to control you under the guise of caring about the climate. Which does actually kind of tie in with, you know, the whole thing that we had going on with the Canadian Prime Minister, or the new one that may be coming into power soon. You know, it is all kind of about that, you know. It's just like, what can they attach themselves? What kind of levers of power can they attach themselves to? And how can they frame that and propagandize that to you in a way that you will kind of just take it up the arse without even thinking about it. You know, you'll lube it up for them. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make you lube it up for them, and unfortunately, a lot of people do. Okay, on to the next story. Breaking! Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says President Trump wants no taxes for people who make less than $150,000 a year. Now, this was a similar thing that was proposed in the UK as well, actually. The UK, in the Reform Party proposed something like this as well. And I was very interested by something like that. I wondered if something like that might work and how they might actually make that work. So, and Trump is proposing to do this by imposing tariffs. So, you know, I think that's a very dicey plan. It could work in theory if people pay the tariffs or whatever, but it seems to be incentivizing people to make other deals instead and not necessarily trade with America. So, don't know, very difficult to say how that's going to work out, and if coupled with something like this, I mean, you could probably actually collapse the economy. However, if they do it correctly, could be massive gains for the working classes, but who is to say what will happen? But let's listen to this quick clip. It's only 19 seconds. We'll see what he has to say.
How about no tax on tips? How about no tax on overtime? How about no Social Security? How about all those things? These are the kind of thoughts that will change America. I know what his goal is. No tax for anybody who makes less than $150,000 a year. That's his goal. And that's what I'm working for. How about no tax?
Right. Okay, so they're not specifically saying they're going to do that policy, but he's saying that that's kind of like the level they want to get to, is we want to be able to have an economy where we can make that a possibility. You know, admirable goal, but how are you going to do that? I mean, that's a lot of... It's very similar to what Labour and Democrat politicians do, where they try and bribe the voter base, you know, with things that they maybe can't actually back up. So, I don't know. Could be good if they do achieve something like that, but hey, I'm leaning on the side of caution on this one. I don't know if this is really possible. I think they're being a bit too overzealous with this kind of idea. And this next story is a little bit of a tragedy. We've got ourselves a tragedy on our hands here. I found out that one of the reporters from InfoWars, Jamie White, was murdered earlier this week outside of his home in Austin, Texas. His last X post was a repost of Elon Musk asking, why are the liberals so violent? Could be considered slightly ironic. Let's quickly listen to this.
Police
video.
really releasing few details about what happened overnight, but this is...
Sorry, it's full screen, I don't know.
But this is what we do know right now. Police say they actually found the victim here in the parking lot of this apartment complex. EMS ended up taking that man to the hospital where he later died. Right now, police will not say exactly if he was shot or stabbed, only saying that he had obvious trauma. Homicide detectives still on scene, as I mentioned this morning, collecting evidence. We've seen also a lot of activity in a second floor apartment where they've been taking evidence bags out. Right now, police say they do not have any information about a suspect, and they're asking if you know something about that to contact them. You can also remain anonymous using Crime Stoppers.
Yeah, so I actually did happen to find, apparently there was some statements made by his, I can't remember if it was his sister or his wife, but whoever it was his sister or his wife, but one of them, whoever the woman was, she survived the incident. She was there at the time and she actually saw them. Although I don't think she saw them well enough to get a proper ID on them. But apparently they were just trying to break into the car. It wasn't like a targeted attack. Like, Alex Jones has run with the idea that this is some kind of a targeted attack against InfoWars, against the truth, against... We're bringing the truth, brother! Brother, they're making the fucking proxy, brother! What? That's... He thinks that they're trying to kill... they're trying to kill InfoWars, like, literally now, not just financially. And he's kind of gone, a little bit insane, and he does. I will say he's obviously in shock, and this is somebody he's worked with for a very long time. So I do actually have some sympathy and empathy for Alex at this time and the people that work at InfoWars. But I don't think that it is a conspiracy. I think it is an unfortunate crime that he's been a victim of. I mean, you could, if you really wanted to twist it into a political agenda, you could say, you know, oh, it's because of liberal mayors or liberal crime, soft on crime liberals. But this is in Texas. Come on, this is Austin. It's Austin. Maybe it is Democrat. Maybe Austin is a Democrat city. Austin, Texas. I can't spell Texas, can I? Why did I put an X on the end of it? Mayor. Mayor of Austin. Yeah, tell me who it is. Kirk Watson. Kirk Watson is an American attorney and politician. He's the mayor of Austin, and he's a member of the Democratic Party! Okay. Well, maybe you could say that then, potentially. I don't know how this guy has... He's only been in power for a couple of years. I don't know how he has handled being a mayor. I don't want to necessarily lay it at his feet. But hey, if you want to be a propagandist, you could probably say something like that, right? I don't know if I would say that personally. I think it's just a tragic accident, unfortunately. And, you know, rest in peace. I hope he finds peace in the next life, and I hope that his family also find peace as well with this. But, you know, it is very difficult, very horrible. And it's not... It makes it all the more difficult when all the conspiracy theorists are going crazy in the comments. People are blaming the Democrats. People are just jumping into conspiracy mode and pointing the finger, and I don't think that's what's needed. I don't think that's what the family needs. So please just show some respect. Alright, so this story... it's not a news story, but this is occasionally I'm going to be bringing in some stuff that is just like becomes like quite a big talking point, gets shared a lot, you know, gets a lot of likes, gets a lot of attention, and sparks like a bit of a conversation. So I'm stealing a little bit of a bit from Chud Logic here right now. Shout out to Chud, one of the greatest UK streamers of all time. We're doing a little bit of a rape review here, and I don't know, I've not really delved into this at all, but apparently this is a little spicy, okay? This is a little spicy, but we don't shy away from the controversial on this show. So, we've got a situation where this man, I'm assuming this is a stepfather, or it is the father, I don't know, but he's been babysitting this daughter, and apparently has been making sexual suggestions to this child. And we're going to have a little investigation. There's been some messages shared here. There's been a story shared. There's more stuff here. There's quite a lot of stuff. I didn't realize there was so much stuff. Shit. Okay. But there has been allegations this is all fabricated, and that there's also evidence that it was fabricated, okay? And this is why it blew up. Because obviously just how serious this is. Like, you're alleging against a child. It's one thing when you're doing it against a woman, and that's bad enough as it is. That is also horrendous, okay? Rape should never be treated... When we're talking about it unironically, when we're talking about it in a serious context, should never be taken lightly, okay? And especially when it's children. That's insane, okay? So, let's get into this. So, we've got the daddy thing. So, she's got her as daddy in her phone. And this is the girl's phone, I imagine, right? So, I think it's a stepdad. Right, let's read this first, actually, for context. Let's read this. I was with this nigger for 5 years, and he'd been around my daughter since she was 5 years old, and I can't believe that he would all of a sudden take a sexual interest in my daughter. It disgusts me that she came to me crying about how he doesn't talk to her like she's a kid anymore. Is that something a child would say? Sorry, I shouldn't go into she's a liar mode straight away. I really shouldn't do that, but there's just something very off with how she's saying this, but it could just be like how she's writing it. I don't want to. I'm not saying. I'm not gonna lie. I've gone on so many rabbit holes down like statement analysis, how people lie, like watching people in courtrooms and interrogations who lie, and the different things that FBI people pick up on and blah blah blah. I'm not saying I'm an expert or anything, okay? I'm obviously not an expert. I haven't trained this. I haven't actually done this in real life or anything. But you do pick some things up, and there are certain things where sometimes I'll read something and I go, wait a minute, is that like a likely thing that like someone would say? It sounds not natural, So, and then that's when I start to my mind starts ticking over, It disgusts me that she came to me crying about... Oh, okay, we read that bit. He's been trying to get her to be an adult and do sexual things with her because she is older now. This type of betrayal from him I will never understand or forgive, and the disgusting ass family that stands by him and calls my child a liar can all go to hell with him. You all can all get hands and feet about my... Oh, right, so she means you can all get hands and feet about my daughter. Like, you can all get... She's threatening to beat the shit out of him, basically. At the end of the day, he violated a little girl who literally just turned 10 last month in February. She trusted him and loved him. I will never understand how anybody can be a mother and not believe their child. I believe my baby no matter what. I don't give a fuck how nobody feel! You really can't trust nobody around your kids. And it's sad and scary as fuck. Like, who talks to a child they claim to love like this? I'm disgusted. There's just something about this that doesn't feel right. Like, if my kid came to me about this, number one, if I believed her, we'd be going to the police straight away. I would not post any of this online. I would not want him to know. I know. I want him to be arrested. Okay? I might make a statement about it, but probably later down the line when it seems legally okay to do so. But I don't want to be making like accusations or saying things without evidence when I'm trying to make a case, right? So I might make a statement, but if I did make a statement, it would be I'd probably be after the case, because like if you believe them, you get the evidence and you think you've got them dead to rights, and you get the messages, you get all this stuff, and you take them to court and all that, whatever, like then it's just gonna be over, right? It's just gonna be like they're in prison. It is what it is, right? And then I can just, if I make a statement, it is, this has devastated our family. I'm devastated. I can't believe this happened. I don't know how we'll continue, but I'm gonna try and be strong and be there for my daughter, and not let this affect her life. And to the scum that did this to my daughter, you will never lead a happy life ever again, or something like that. It'd be something along that kind of line, right? I'd probably, so like there's something about the way she's written this that feels a little scripted. I don't know. It's hard. I mean, it's hard for me to put my finger on it, but there's something about the way she's written it that just doesn't feel right. But then I want to see more evidence, because it could just be, like I said earlier, it could just be, she just doesn't write things like, she'd basically just doesn't have the greatest education in English. You know what I mean? She's just not gonna. She's not she's not Ernest Hemingway. Right. So let's see what the messages are. So, you want me to lay in there with you, or you fine? I'm fine. Okay. I'm just bored. I hate when mummy go to work. I don't be having nothing to do at all. What you doing? Watching TikTok. Looking for things to do. Like fun stuff? Yeah. Did you ever get head before? Why? Just asking. Why would she say why? Does she know what head is? Why has she got 488 Okay. Um, why? Is that a child's phone with 488 messages on it? Unread? I don't know, maybe. I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm seeing little details that are making me go, wait a minute. But why wouldn't she say, I would expect a kid, even if they did know what head was, they might be scared to admit to an adult what head is, right? So they might have said, like, what's that? She says, why? She says, just asking, no, because I don't like boys. I mean, to be fair, I'm trying to think back when I was 10, yeah. I did know of naughty words. Like, I did know fuck meant sex, right? I didn't really know everything about sex. I knew that it was to do with the penis and the vagina and stuff. I didn't really know what it looked like or what you were meant to do. Or, like, I don't think I really knew that much about, like, what foreplay is meant to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe it is that, like, kids might know something like that, but it does feel a little strange to me that she said why. And this response is a little strange if she does know what it is. Because I don't like boys. Getting head is something girls and boys do. It's just when a tongue is going up and down on your Virginia. Oh. Right. Okay. I'm not trying to get you to like boys. I'm just trying to give you some head so you can know what it feels like. It's just my tongue licking your stuff. Do you want to try? I won't tell anyone if you won't tell anyone. If you don't like it, I'll stop. Okay, this is the guy and the girl, apparently. This is quite horrible. Okay. Right. I don't really want to do that. Come on, lie. Give it a try. I'll do whatever you want and get you whatever you want. Don't be scared. No, I don't want... I noticed that they both write kind of the same, in a way. Neither of them use punctuation, like, at all. No, well, a little bit. But just like, you know, for like don't and stuff. But they don't use full stops or commas or anything. No, I don't want to because that will make me feel uncomfortable and I'm only 10 years old. I'm not fully an adult, so no. There is something weird about that response. It's just like when... I just feel like kids don't use words like that would make me feel uncomfortable. That feels like a very adult 25 to 30-year-old woman thing to say. You know what I mean? Am I being crazy with that? Am I like, is anybody in chat? Am I just being so off on this? Like, I can't tell if I'm just going insane. Also, I think I'm off camera a lot. What am I doing here? I think I'm off camera a lot. I'm leaning all over the place. I'm all over the place. I've had like half a beer and I'm going crazy. Can somebody get in chat and let me know what the hell is going on here with this? I need to know if I'm just... I can't tell if I'm the weird one for thinking that. Like, every time I read the kids' responses, I'm thinking, this just doesn't feel like a kid. It's not going to make you feel uncomfortable. You're going to be doing it soon, but okay. Leave you alone and just let mummy know you'll be watching nasty stuff. But I don't watch that stuff anymore, and I don't like that stuff. It's nasty, and I just want to chill. I don't want to do stuff like that because it makes me feel weird and uncomfortable. We only got one life to live, like, just try it. If you don't like it, I'll leave you alone, deal? No, I don't want to. Please stop asking me. Just ask Mummy. She is an adult. Kids don't talk like this. It just does. That does not feel normal. That's not appropriate. Actually making me scared. You don't have to be scared of me. I won't do anything to you without your permission. You said leave you alone. I will leave you alone. Just delete the messages. Okay, sorry for bothering you about her. Just watch porn. What? Okay. Okay, so I do not know what to make of that, okay? That is like a very bizarre exchange. Could very well be real. But there is something about it that feels strange. But let's see what the boyfriend's got to say for himself. You need to leave. You can't be here when she gets out. I'm assuming out of school. And he's like, what the fuck did I do? It's not me. I'm gonna call my mum. Okay, I'll wait for her. I'm gonna leave your house. I'm just waiting for my mum to pull up. This is really crazy. I can't believe you think I would stoop that low. So you're calling my daughter a liar? I'm not calling her a liar. What I'm saying to you is I didn't write those messages. She always puts a space after the question mark. Is there a question? I don't think there's any question marks in the messages to see that. Yeah, she doesn't do it there. Okay. I'm not calling her a liar. What I'm saying is to you is I didn't write those messages. So I'm post. That is a direct. That's a direct. What's the word? Why can't I think of the word? That's a direct denial. It's easier to do that over text, I will say, but that is a direct denial. So that's usually a good sign of somebody telling the truth. But again, even if someone is a skilled liar, they can still bypass those like kind of psychological processes. So it's not, we got to see more here. So I'm supposed to put a man before my kid. What kind of person you think I am? My phone is connected to 2 items. Isaiah tablet. I gave her an old phone. I don't have anymore because it's broke. I don't fuck around with shit like that. Who else would know I'm gonna work in the morning? Right. Who else would text like that, nigga? You cursed me out enough for me to know how you talk. I'm not leaving my daughter hanging until this shit is solved. Why would she censor shit in her own messages? I'm not having no school. Look at me, crazy. I know you know how I talk, but on Jahimia Ashes, I would never write no shit like that to a child. Okay, swearing on stuff like that, that's an indication of a liar! So, we're 1-1 for the red flags and the green flags. Yahil, you complain about being bored all the time. That's exactly what you said in the text. And the crazy thing is you hurt her feelings with all that shit you said about never wanting kids. Then I see all these messages and nothing you're saying is making shit make sense. I understand I wouldn't want anybody looking at you any type of way, but I didn't write those messages. I'm not mad at you right now. Just hurt you would think I would write that. I don't know what to do or how to feel right now. I'm hurt beyond words. This is happening to me right now. There is... Okay. I don't know what to think right now. This is very bizarre. You really want me to ask her some shit like that after what the fuck I read? Yes, because I never did anything to lie. I never even came off to her that way. I never laid in her bed. I never texted her in that way. And I never looked at her like that. I always tell her to put clothes on. Please ask her, because I would never do no shit like that. Somebody had to have my phone. Ain't no way I'm talking to a little kid that way. Fucking insane. I'm not a fucking pedophile. Why are they censoring the word in their own private messages? This is so weird. And it's less letters. Who the fuck was it then? Because Right, who the fuck was it then? Because we on mere ass to y'all, the only two niggers who be in the house. Everybody in this house know my passcode. If I ever did some shit like that, while I ain't ever been tell you she been with you alone plenty of times. You acting like I ain't have a whole DYFS case. I could lose my child. You really don't believe anything I'm saying, and it's crazy. No, everybody in this house know my password to be fair, that's a good argument. Like, if everyone has access to his shit where they could potentially message, but that looked like phone messages, like direct text messages. Didn't look like it was on Facebook or something. You act like I wasn't with you through it. Why would they be reading your messages? Like, why would I risk my freedom like this? Why would I destroy my name? You're really hurting me with this one. I thought you loved me. You really got me down for some shit like this. This is I think he meant to write something else. I think he meant to write, this is totally killing me inside. I left out your house. I'm sitting in the hallway. This shit is unbelievable. And you say in the school seen it, you took a picture of that phone. Why would the school contact you guys? What cop did I call? I came here peacefully. I was in tears before I got here. Why wouldn't you go to the cops though? Why is this happening now like this? I'm gonna do what I asked me to do and pack my stuff and leave your house because you don't believe me. That's crazy. Well, kind of, but like, I don't know exactly what else he is supposed to say. If he didn't actually do it, I don't actually know what he is supposed to say. And he has said multiple times that he just wouldn't do this. He hasn't done it. Why would you think he's done this? It's crazy all you thinking about. I'm hurting, I don't know what to do. You're trying to fuck my daughter, right? It's always fuck us and fuck my daughter. Oh no, not trying to fuck. Fuck my daughter, right? It's always fuck us. You told me to go. You called your family, but you ain't do nothing. Cool. I didn't do anything. I've been nothing but loving and caring to both of you. You better hope I don't call the cops since you want to take it there. Take it where? He's just leaving. She doesn't wait. So he's saying I'll actually just leave the house then, right? Which would actually remove the element of sexual predator from the house, and she actually doesn't want him to leave. She's seeing that as him being like, well, what? You just fuck us then, is it? You don't care about us. What? Surely, if you believe this guy tried to fuck your child, why wouldn't you want him out of the house? Am I going insane? Am I going insane? Wow, my God. I wish I had more viewers, man. This is so annoying. I need a second opinion on this. I can't believe, this is very bizarre to me. Because I'm not even a parent. And if I have a nephew, okay, if I found something out like this about my nephew, mate, it'd just be on. I'd be like, damn, we're going to the police. Right, that's it. We're taking these messages. We've got him dead to rights. Bam, 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 bam. What is there to even think about? And then if he's messaging me later and I confront him and I'm like, look, we've gone to the police, I'd be saying, I want you out the house before we come back. He's offering to leave. Right, okay, whatever. I called them because you calling me a paedophile. I don't know. Do this never happened to me before. Have your whole family come? I promise you, everybody gonna regret it. What are you talking about? This is my name on the line right now. No, everybody calling me. I got something for you since you want to take it there. You think I would really do some shit like this? Is driving me insane. Since you want to involve everyone, I'm gonna do the same. Right, so she wanted this. What is she talking about? So she wanted to come to him privately with this. For what? She didn't want him to tell anyone about it. She didn't say that. Obviously, also, you can't control that. So, she didn't go to police. She wants to talk to him privately about it. And then she also doesn't want him to leave. Either. Like, what is the motivation? Like, that's what's making me start to go, oh shit, maybe this is fake somehow, in some way. I don't know exactly how, but in some way. I'm not saying she's a liar per se, but there is something odd with it. There's something very weird with the way she's acting. Right, what is this, the last one? Hold on. Since you want to involve everyone, I'm going to do the same. All you had to do was leave. That's what he's saying! He said, I'm leaving! And he's like, bro, what am I leaving for? You got Tati involved and Taylor, what you mean? Now you're all dead to me. You're really trying to destroy me and I don't even do shit to you. You're really on some bullshit right now. Out of all the people in this world, you question me about some bullshit you know I don't do. Okay, so in the text messages, he does speak a bit like this, but I will say, it does feel a little different. And I will say, with the messages in the one to the kid, just before that, when she first got into the conversation with him, she said something along the lines, yeah, after all these years of you cussing me out and stuff like that, yeah, I do know how you talk. Right? She does know how he talks. Is it beyond the realms that she wrote text in like kind of his text speech a bit? Maybe not perfect, but she dropped a few ions in there to make it look like him. I don't know. I don't know about that. Now you dead to me and I called the cops. So you might as well come outside. This how you want shit to go. Let's have it. What did she want it to go like? What did she want it to go like? I don't even fucking understand this bitch. I don't get it. Please help me understand, somebody. Because like the only way you would be acting like this is if you knew it wasn't really real, I guess. And now it's just like escalating because it's like she almost wanted to threaten him with this stuff, but keep it on the quiet. This is if it's untrue, okay? This could all be true, okay? It could all be true. It could all be true. Always believe women. But if it wasn't true, but then what's the real motivation though? Was she trying to threaten him for like money and stuff? Like what is? I don't get what even the motivation would be. So yeah, even to do this seems bizarre on her end too. So I'm struggling to believe that she's lying, but I'm also struggling to believe that this is real. I don't know, man. There's some fucking weird shit going on with this. Or could it be? Could it be the daughter does not like? Wow. I don't know how I didn't think of this. The daughter doesn't like the stepdad, right? They've talked about arguing and stuff before. The daughter doesn't like him. She has everyone knows the passwords to his shit, right? She, one evening, maybe when he's in the shower or some shit like that, she gets her phone, comes downstairs, gets his phone, does a quick thing like this, does a quick text exchange like this to set him up, right? So that he gets kicked out of the house or gets arrested or something. That's an angle that could be happening here. And this is why the mother isn't lying, because she doesn't necessarily know that the daughter is lying about it. That could be an eventuality, or it could just be that the mother is crazy, or it could be that he is genuinely a paedophile and he's just been caught out and he's trying to do everything he can to kind of hold on. However, what he's saying could also just be what an innocent guy says as well. I'm not seeing like lots of red flags in the way that he is talking about this. He's not really trying to flip it on it. He is saying things like, I'm hurt that you think this. But he's not really trying to flip it on her like, wait a minute, you're actually the piece of shit for this. You know, it's not really that. He's not going into that territory so much. So because of that, I'm struggling to see him as completely guilty either. So this is very nuanced right now. It's very nuanced. This is high level abuse stuff we're getting into here. Who can be there for you when you fucked up, sick going through it, etc. You really better kick me out of your life, and I ain't been doing nothing but taking care of you and your daughter, and you hit me with this. Don't text me no more. I'm waiting on your mother and sister. Unless maybe she's been cheating on him, and this was the way to get rid of him. I don't know. There's nothing you can say to me after today. Might as well come outside. I didn't do nothing to you. Why are you making this like this? Shouldn't have called nobody if you didn't do anything. What? No. That's insane to think that. If you come at somebody, right, if they are genuinely innocent, right? If they were innocent, and if I had a partner, and, you know, it's a bit rocky sometimes, but we have a generally good relationship, and let's say I haven't actually abused this daughter, right? And they come at me with one day, hey, explain all this, and I genuinely haven't done it, and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? That would take me, number one, that would take me blindside me completely, but also absolutely I would tell my family 100%. I'd be like, whoa, my partner, whatever their name is, they've just said all this shit about me. Like, what the fuck? What are we going to do? This is insane. I've never had to deal with this before in my life. Yes, that would be my instant reaction, as I think anyone would if they were innocent and had an accusation of that kind of gravity given to them, right? Surely. So, yeah. But if you were guilty, how would you react? So, you know, you might plead, you might beg, you might say, you might not tell anybody because you don't want anyone to know if it was real. If it was real, if you'd really messaged this girl, why would you want your family to know that? You wouldn't call them up, would you? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like the psychology behind the reactions to this. I guess it could go either way, I suppose, but it does. There's some shit about this that just doesn't feel right. Who gonna be there for you when? Don't text me. Oh, you might as well be dead to me. You might as well come outside. I think she just means like come outside by like, let's just have a fucking fight, I guess. I didn't do nothing to you. Why are you making it like this? You shouldn't have called nobody. You called your whole family, and now they're blowing up my phone when all I asked you to do was leave me so I can figure this shit out, but you choose to make shit this way. I didn't call nobody. I called my mum and told her to come get me. I can't stay here no more. And she said, why? And I told her what it was about. You're a liar. I never said she was lying about anything. I said I didn't write that shit. Speak to your family. Nah. Nene just told all on you, and she on her way. I'm waiting. Nobody's coming over here. I put everybody in their place. Where? Fucking hell, man, this is difficult. Way I need you to do right now is talk to me like an adult. I mean, please. That's it since you kicking me out. Your sister made shit worse for you by telling me to tell my daughter to suck your dick. Babe, I have nothing to do with that. Okay, the sister's reaction is a bit fucked up. But, again, if she truly believes that he's innocent and he is truly innocent, then you'd probably be pretty fucking pissed off. Right? Go with your family and leave. Can you talk to me, please? Not that that justifies bringing the daughter into it like that. I mean, you could have at least said, you know, tell the mum to suck my dick or some shit like that. There's no need to say it about the daughter who could potentially be an abuse victim in this situation. So that is actually kind of fucked up what the sister did there, actually. Now that I'm actually really thinking it over a bit more, like, yeah, that's actually quite fucked up. Since you're thinking you're about to do something, I'ma show y'all. You want everybody in it now. Now she's like trying to gear up for some massive fight. Since you're thinking you're about to do you want everybody in now. You act like I don't got family to laughing my ass off. Cool, I see you trying to make shit go. Nobody knows shit but my mother and mate because I asked them to come get me. That's it. You did this to yourself. You really acting like I'm the ops now. I was just fucking up last night. Really goofy. Okay. And then she's posted a screenshot of somebody contacting her, I guess. I guess it's his family. But you didn't say nothing? Fuck out of here. I never texted Nay. She talked to Mum Dukes, not me. I haven't talked to her at all. Now, whatever happens just happens. You treat me like I never existed to you. You did this. You did this. You should have never called my daughter a liar to your family. Like, who does it? Wait a minute. Is this about calling my daughter a liar? Or you abused my daughter? Or you tried to fuck my daughter? How has this now been moved to you called my daughter a liar? Now we're going to have to fight. No. Why? Again, maybe it's just how they talk, but somehow the things people say reveal certain things. Like, if the point for you is that somebody tried to fuck you, which would be the transgression for me. Like, it would be like, okay, maybe you didn't actually end up fucking them, but you fucking tried. You messaged them this fucking massive, like, you've got to leave. Like, you are now a danger in this household. Like, I can never trust you again. Like, that is literally it, right? So now she's saying you called my daughter a liar, like as if that's the issue here, and now we're gonna have to fight over it. Like, what? Okay, you got it, Lainey. I'm getting all my stuff and getting out your house. Don't trip. I'm packing my stuff. I'll be outside your way soon. Been around your kid since she was 5, and you got me down for this shit. Tell your sister stop texting my phone before she be under the jail where she belong. I told her to stop texting you. You don't talk to you, so I stopped texting you. Wasn't even trying to get on that type time with nobody for what I don't even do anything to anybody. Just remember, you made shit this way, lying to them. You started all this when you should have just left. Wait. Ooh. Just remember, you made shit this way by lying to them. You started this when you could have just left. Lying about what? You called me a pedophile. The fuck I look like? Yeah, your mother and your sister are going to regret today. Bro, I texted you about me, not them. You said, fuck me and get out, so that's what I'm doing. You got what you wanted, so I'm just leave. And you better get what you wanted. All I wanted was the family I created, but you pulled this. So I know you don't want to be with me. So I can't even read this. You know, I got a hell of stuff, so I'm just packing my stuff like you asked me to. Your old lover must have come back, Roddy. You really lied to your mum and sister. They tell me everything. Hey, so there's an ex. She wasn't over. Bit extreme to go this far, though. Like, why not just say I'm with a guy? But to be fair, bitches be crazy sometimes. And also, men be perverts. So, I don't know. I don't know who to believe right now. I'm struggling with the way that she's talking and going about all this. That leads me to believe there's something suspect about her and this story. But then also, I do just have my preconceived biases about men that, you know, the possibility of him being an abuser is still definitely on the table. I don't know. Hard to say. You call them shit, you just acting the way you blah 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 blah. It's just all about you contact everyone, it's just all this fight stuff still. Acting like this is not about the kid. Okay. I didn't call you a pedo, first of all. I asked you what the fuck this is about. Nene called your child a liar, so stop putting words in my mouth. I don't do shit to Lalani. You did the weird shit and involving everyone, so deal with it. So you call me a pedophile, say less, you done up. I'll never talk to you ever again. On my son, I won't ever talk to you again. I hate people who swear on people. Don't ever do that. It's so cringe. I never called you that. What the fuck? You can't read by. Why is it? Why? But you kind of are calling him that by saying this, right? He posted a screen recording of him and the girl's previous conversations and the comments on the video saying he's playing victim game. Okay, I've got a full screen list. I don't know if this was coming up okay. Oh man, can we not get... Wait, hold on. Can we slow this down? Playback speed. Yeah. Let's halve that. You could order it now, Mom. We told her don't order it. She can make some and she gets it. Oh, let's see. Can I get McDonald's? Yeah, what do you want? Can I ask you something? Leave me alone. Oh, breakfast. Daddy, is mummy woke? Oh, as in like awake. Can you make me cereal? I will say this kid's messages don't seem like the messages. The way she writes, it's close to what was in the messages to him, but not the same. It feels... The way she writes feels a little different. Obviously, as well, we're not seeing any of these interactions that they claim to have happened. So, you know, I'm assuming that's just more of the same. So in the comments, people are saying, "Sir, you're the only one who uses an as and." And then somebody points out that you type exactly like that. Okay. Whatever. I don't know who is who in this. That everyone's saying it's him writing those messages. Oh, he forgot to delete a message from the tablet. Oh, what is this? Oh, so it says, I don't know if you can see this on there. I'm gonna give you Zai phone so you can text me and talk to me so I can ask you some questions. Just be honest between me and you. Right. This is still weird. It's not on his tablet. It's not saved as a number. Everyone else has got a name on the messages. But this one doesn't. But this is meant to be her main one before she gave her the phone. Also, why would you message that? I mean, I guess it's still... But wait a minute, that doesn't make sense, because that's not how it works. When you delete messages on, like, a messenger thing, right? This is a phone number one, though, but... Yeah, but if you delete them, that usually... You don't have to delete them off one thing to the next. If it's all... Is this like a WhatsApp thing or something? It looks like WhatsApp, maybe. Doesn't it delete it all across it, because they're connected? So how would another message not be there? What? There's just something so fucking weird about this. There's just something so weird. I hate that I'm questioning it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the one questioning it, but there's so much shit going through my head right now. I can't actually process this. Hold up. Hold up, child! Hold up, child! Alright. I should probably be treating this with more brevity, but... I don't know, I need to laugh so that I don't cry, I guess. Alright, so, The mum shared this on her Facebook. I'm really scared of people that be quick to call a child liar when it comes to being groomed, sexually molested. Because why are we not believing them? I've actually seen no evidence that the daughter has actually brought this to anyone, though. Yeah, what do you think, guys? I don't know. Whoa, she lied! Whoa! Okay, we've got some evidence in the comments that apparently this is all a scam! I wonder. And the original post was deleted. Ooh, hey! What have we got here? Okay, let's roll one up for this. I'm gonna roll this one up. We be smoking on. We be smoking on this bitch right now. If this is true, I wonder what evidence, what salacious evidence we have. Because this be wild. This be some wild shit. So I told you I did think there was something off about all this. Did I not? Have I not been saying this the whole time? Janelle Walker. Man, oh man, you better had not did or said shit to that baby. I'll hunt you down. But you looking more and more innocent as time flies. This ain't her first time lying on a man about this, and ain't gonna be her last. I just hope you get her arrested and sue the fuck out of her for this, because she has caused once you clear your name. It's actually her writing those messages. She is texting from one phone and replying from another. She did the same thing a couple of years ago to her daughter's father. Those who know the case will and have said, nah, not this again, because she has done this before. Oh! But why? Why would she do it to the father and this guy? Why? That's the question. What's the motivation? That's what I don't understand. Because it can't be child support and stuff, right? That's got to be the biological father, right? It can't be, unless she was seeking to maybe sue him and get money, but come on, man. This guy, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I'm not gonna be like, I don't. Something tells me this guy isn't swimming in money, right? You know, I'm sure he has a job. I'm sure he's like okay, but he's not like swimming in money. Like he's not the kind of person that you want to be suing. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna really be beneficial. So I'm struggling to understand what the real motivation is here. The only real motivation I can give is the ex is back in town, right? That's something that seems to be on the table here. Again, that's just been alluded to in a message, but it is a possibility. It is a possibility indeed. So let's see. I believed Tierra Christie at first until I read these messages, and something in my spirit saying she set this up. You more concerned about him calling his mama and other people finding out? It just doesn't make sense to me. Exactly. Like, surely you would want people to know. Yeah, this guy's a pedo. He tried to fuck my kid. Like, why would you not want people to know that? Oh, that's just the same one again. Okay. In the post, she says her daughter came to her crying about the messages. In these texts, the daughter is at school, and the mum found them on her phone. When he says... When he says ask the daughter, the mum declines and says why is she going to ask her daughter about that? I thought the daughter brought it to her attention. Story isn't adding up. These messages show the mum being mad he told people about it, and that's when she called the cops. This whole thing seems like some manipulation tactic gone wrong. Now someone's trying to cover their tracks. Interesting! It's always funny how this happens, you know? Even when, like, if this is true, and again, we don't know, but this has been deleted, so... people are questioning it. Let's see if there's more we can find. So Jaleel Walker, oh wow. I'm the one that made that post, and I'm here to say that it was false information I was giving. The other time she exposed her baby father for being a brokey. I apologize for misleading information. I don't know that lady or him to know that they passed. I posted was sent to me because I thought it was wild. After people sending me the baby daddy post, I realized it's not the same situation. I'm investigating just like the rest of you all. Don't chop my head off. I still believe the mother and the dyke set them messages up. And I believe he did send her something and deleted the messages, because if you look at some of the messages, they dated back to December 3rd, which means they had to set it up to be dated February 19th. It doesn't make sense either. She knew it was going on, just took action in February because she probably said something to a family member or a friend and he brought it up to mother. Now she's acting all surprised and her, I don't know. I don't know. It's an ongoing investigation. Okay. You're coming at me mad hard, but I don't find it weird that she didn't call the cops, says this girl. Explain this then. I don't know, man. This is proof of it being false. That's not proof. That's just that same message again. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what to think at the end of all this. I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe you can get in the comments and let me know what you think of this shit show. A very bizarre situation. But apparently she didn't try and expose her baby daddy as being a pedo. But she did, like, kind of put him on public blast in a certain way that wasn't quite fair or just or whatever. So people are suspect of her because of that. Weird. Very weird. I can't make up my mind, man. I kind of see what some of these other people are seeing that is very bizarre, her kind of attitude towards it all. Hard to say which way to go on that one. Very hard to say. I don't know if we'll even get a follow-up on this or not. Not sure. But I thought it was interesting. I thought it was a very interesting little conversation that opened up. I thought it's worth taking a little peek at. Although I think we did end up spending quite a lot of time on it. Sorry. But yeah, let me know. And Mischief is in the chat. Welcome, Mischief. Thank you for joining us. If Mischief ever wanted to come on the show, I'd happily have you on the show. Anyway, let's continue. A fitness instructor in London is braving a torrent of abuse from trans activists after revealing that her soon-to-open gym would be female only. Following her announcement, Natalie Barnett was targeted by death threats from men who identify as women. Beautiful stuff. We can never go a week without the transgenders sending death threats to people, to women. Personally, I'm a fan of the single-sex gyms. I'm happy for the men's gyms, the women's gyms to commence. And we argued when Mary Chew was on the show. Well, we didn't argue, but we spoke about sex markers on passports. And this is why. People in the comments are like, oh, you're gonna, well, maybe it's not in these comments, but I've seen comments from some of the more woke side of things saying things like, oh, you're gonna check all their genitals when they come in the gym, are you? You pervert. Are you trying to get under the skirts of trans women, are you? This is why we need sex markers on official documents like IDs and passports, so that you can put that to the person at the thing and they don't have to announce it to the fucking everybody there, and they can just look at it and go, oh, okay, you're a man, you're allowed in, you're a woman, you're allowed in, da-da-da-da-da. There you go. And then you can have some gyms that base it on gender rather than sex. You can have gyms that base it on sex. You know, it makes the world a lot easier when you're not trying to obfuscate everything all the time. Personally, I think this woman has done nothing wrong. It's absolutely fine. And it's just another one of those situations where trans people have just gone crazy. They've gone mad. It's a spoiled child syndrome. That's what I call it. But yeah, this became like a really big hot topic over the week. Again, just this whole idea around women's spaces and stuff, and I think this shit is just not gonna stop for a while, unfortunately. But once people like this make these kinds of gyms, if they become successful, if they do well, then I think we're gonna see more and more of this kind of stuff, and I think more people are just going to be inclined to ignore the people screeching in the background. And I think that's completely fair enough. I think we've got to make that change in society at some point, you know? We can't let them just demand and dictate to us what it's going to be. But anyway, moving on. The trans are at it again. They're at it again. Could you believe it? But this time in is it the Senate House? I think it's the Senate House, or is it the House of Representatives? Either way, Sarah McBride was called Mr. during a meeting, and this caused some controversy to the point where they had to close down the meeting. So trans people holding up legal and political matters because of pronouns.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also wonderful.
Mr. Chairman, could you repeat your introduction again, please?
Yes, we have set the standard on the floor of the House, and I'm simply,
What is that standard, Mr. Chairman?
the
Would you
standard,
repeat what you just said when
I-
you introduced a duly elected representative from the United States of America? Please.
I will. The representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order. Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this
You
hearing.
will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
This hearing is adjourned.
Wow. Really? Okay, well, that is cringe. In all respects. I mean, I don't know. There's no actual real need to do that. I'm actually not one of those people that cares too much about the pronoun thing too much. I care more about the spaces and stuff like that. For me, what I care about is where the rubber meets the road. Things like this are a little bit more arbitrary to me. I don't see a problem with saying miss or whatever the fuck if they're married, Mrs. or whatever. I don't fucking know. I don't really think that is that big of a deal personally, but I also don't think it's that big of a deal to call him Mr. either. To be frank, I actually don't think it's that big of a deal either. But I do think it's unnecessary to just kind of like purposefully be a dick like that. I think it is unnecessary. I don't think it requires this to end though. I think that like whatever this was, like political stuff should be taken seriously. Ending a meeting over something like this or a hearing or whatever, I think is bad form personally over something as stupid as this. But you know, this is how it goes these days. Everyone's all up in their feelings about retarded shit. This is the world that we live in. Welcome. Sit down. Take your slippers off. Get comfortable. Because it ain't changing anytime soon. That's for sure. How are we doing in the chat, by the way, before we get into the next stuff? What happens if you call a Mrs. X, Miss X, or Miss or Ms? I don't actually know. I don't know. I really don't know, Mischief. I really couldn't say. This next story, very interesting stuff here. We're getting into some UK politics here, so bear with me, all the American viewers. I know you don't really care. But Keir Starmer will tomorrow announce that AI, well, tomorrow was a few days ago, but he has announced that AI will replace the work of civil servants if it can do a better job. The approach will be guided by the mantra, no person's substantive time should be spent on a task where digital or AI can do it better, quicker, and to the same high quality and standard. Now, this is... There's a lot going on here, okay? A lot more than you might think. And it's quite interesting to me that this has happened. So, number one, when the Tories were in power, especially under Boris Johnson, there was a guy called Dominic Cummings. And he had this whole thing about wanting to get rid of loads of civil servants, right? He had this whole spiel about it. It was like a kind of goal of his, like a life goal. He felt like there was a lot of administrative bloat in the NHS and just in the administrative function of the government in general. And he felt that this was like significantly hampering the power of the government, but it was also becoming a kind of shadow government within itself. And also that it's just kind of, it was a waste of money and resources and everything, right? And there's actually a lot of truth to that. I don't know if I would go quite as hardline as him, but there's definitely a lot of truth to it. And he was kind of derided for that by like Labour and the left and all that kind of stuff. They basically saw this position as untenable, like, you know, it's like this fascist perspective or whatever. But now we've got Keir Starmer doing it, but just doing it with AI. And he's basically just doing the exact same thing. And to be honest with you, they probably would have done this. And what's interesting is, even with Dominic Cummings and with Boris Johnson in power for several years, they didn't even really do that, as far as I'm aware. I think they did maybe do a few, like, redundancy things where maybe a few thousand people were let go here and there. But they didn't do anything, like, big and widespread. They didn't do anything that was, like, major, if I remember. They might not have even done that. I'm just going off a hazy memory here. But as far as I'm aware, they didn't really do anything when it came to that. Whereas Keir Starmer, not even within a year of being within power, is now doing all this, right? And this will have some knock-on effects, whether people like it or not, right? This introduction of AI, it's in one way it's a good thing. It's bringing things up to date in a way that has needed to happen in the UK for a very long time. We're actually, in our infrastructure, our kind of technology infrastructure, when it comes to NHS, when it comes to government stuff, blah, 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 there's so much stuff which is so antiquated now. It's unbelievable. Like, there's still offices out there running on, like, Windows 2000 and shit. Like, trust me, believe it. Windows XP, stuff like that. It's honestly awful. Like, there's so much bad stuff. Like, some places are better than others, but they've just obviously invested in very particular sectors rather than other places. And it means that a lot of stuff is very slow in the UK to get done. It means that finding and retaining information can also be difficult and stuff. And it's just, everything feels like a constant bureaucratic mess. If you've ever seen the movie Brazil, probably a good example of that kind of thing. And so in a one hand, I'm kind of happy about it. On the other hand, I'm kind of a bit like, ooh, could be weird introducing AI. And then also this could set a precedent where more and more AI gets rolled out all over the country in various different sectors and ways. And this could lead to mass joblessness. And how are we going to fill those gaps? And also, what are we going to do if the Labour government don't reduce mass migration, which includes the legal migration? It's not even just about the boats. People focus on the boats a lot, but personally, the legal mass migration is more of a concern to me. And oh, my mouse wasn't moving then. Yeah, so I feel like there will be a lot of unforeseen ripple effects to all this. Also, there's another thing behind all this, which is not quite as obvious, but becomes more obvious once you actually start to think about it, is that this is also kind of like an orchestrated thing, in that Tony Blair is kind of like a secret hand in these kinds of decisions that Keir Starmer is making, because for a very long time now, Tony Blair, after he left politics, got into these companies and stuff that are basically all about AI and forwarding technology and how to kind of merge government systems and company systems and administrations and stuff like that with AI systems, with technology, with blah, blah, blah. So he's basically a technocrat, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. You know, he believes in, like, governance via technology in a certain respect. Probably not in, like, every respect, but, like, in a good portion, like, more so than your average person. And so moves like this by Keir Starmer are quite obviously not really Keir Starmer's words. What these words that he says here: no person's substantive time should be spent on a task where digital AI could do it better, quicker, and to the same high quality and standard. Those are Tony Blair's words. Those are not Keir Starmer's words. And I expect that Tony Blair will have a hand in many moves like this by the Labour government in the future. So, very interesting developments in the UK. Will this now become even more of a bureaucratic hellscape where we replace the admins with the AIs who now become our overlords and rulers? Who knows? Will the AI become the shadow government of the UK? The first one in the world? Who knows? It's not looking good. Sorry, I'm just checking if And Mischief says it couldn't be any worse. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Anyway, the next story. This one is a little bit more serious, I guess. But it's something that I felt was important to highlight because a lot of people are very mesmerized by Trump. They see him as some kind of infallible figure. But I don't. And although I do like Trump sometimes, I think his judgment of character is definitely suspect. And I think even his character is suspect as well. So it is with a heavy heart that we give this story. Texas megachurch pastor and former Trump spiritual advisor Robert Morris has been indicted for molesting a 12-year-old girl. So, you know, the typical guys are at it again. You know, these kinds of people. Well, what this speaks to is a phenomenon, though, and I think what I want to get through here, there's a little bit of a message I want to get through here with this story, because it did make me think about something. And when it comes down to it, this is not, people like this, it's not a left or a right thing. People on the progressive side or the left-wing side, they try to pretend like right-wingers are more uniquely predisposed to having figures like this infiltrate movements and set themselves up in a certain way so that they can then abuse that power and, you know, do heinous acts like this. But that's not actually true. These people are opportunists. They're psychopathic opportunists, okay? And they will find themselves in communities by circumstance that they will then work themselves up into. And this is not unique to any political spectrum, any religion, or anything like that. It's actually more of a human nature thing, and it happens within any system. So the issue I have with the progressive people is not to point out that Republicans have these people within their ranks. The problem is that they don't see it within themselves, and they think they're like immune to it somehow. When in reality, you have to acknowledge that any group can have these people, and you have to be able to recognize that. So people who really virtue signal really hard, we be looking at you. When we when we see people who are going above and beyond to put themselves in very questionable circumstances, we be looking at you. And virtue signaling all the way to be doing it. Yeah, you know, you gotta be vigilant on this kind of stuff. And I will say, it's not always going to be easy. At the end of the day, none of us can be mind readers. Some people are just that good at manipulation. It just is what it is. And also, people do just want to believe too. Like, people do just want to believe you're a good person sometimes if you're on their team, whatever. But you just gotta remember, these people are out to manipulate you. You can't always trust everyone. Just because they agree with you does not necessarily make them a good person, okay? Next up, the Armenian patricide. Patricide. Patriarchate. I don't know what this word is. The Armenian Patriarch, let's just say, of Jerusalem, calls on the international community to urgently focus its attention on the protection and preservation of all Christians in Syria. Now, if you don't know, Syria recently, the Assad regime was toppled after many, many years, and a new Islamist regime has come into power. Beautiful. Out of the fire and into the frying pan. Or whatever, which way around you say that phrase. But they're not having a great time right now in Syria. And it's not being very well spoken of. I mean, you can only see here 6k likes here, but it's not very well known what's going on at the moment about what's going on in Syria. But the new Islamist regime, not very hot, not too hot on Christians, and it does seem as though the beginnings of a genocide are taking place in Syria against Christians in the region. And I'm just trying to bring this to people's attention. I'm just trying to bring this out here because it seems like something that's probably not going to be touched on in mainstream media very much. I think it's something that we should keep our eye on. At the end of the day, just like Gaza, just like Sudan, just like everywhere where these tragedies occur, we should do our best to try and understand why they're happening and also figure out how to make them stop. And sometimes that means going after particular people. Sometimes it means war, unfortunately. Hopefully it doesn't mean war in this case, but who knows. But yes, there is what looks like the beginnings of a genocide happening in Syria right now. And I think people should be aware of that. I will bring any updates of this situation. The information on the ground at the moment is very loose. I've heard figures of several thousand people being killed, but there's nothing that's been like heavily concrete so far in terms of numbers and stuff. All we know is that things are happening. There has been a couple of massacres that have been confirmed, with several hundred casualties to them. There has been some where it seems to be like crossfire between rebel forces and the Islamist forces, stuff like that. So there is still some ongoing conflict going on as well in Syria after the fall of Assad. So, but yeah, very very tragic situation going on over there. Yeah, all our thoughts and prayers go out to the people in Syria. Next up, in the world, we're getting into the kind of like World War III segment, I guess, of the show, where we talk about the goings on between the powers that be and their foreign policy in the current wars. But yes, President Trump has secured a ceasefire agreement between Ukraine and Russia. Let's listen to this clip very quickly and just
today we
find out what's exactly going on here. Apparently Rubio is the one to actually secure the deal, apparently. It's being credited to Trump, but I think it was Rubio that sorted it out. And you know, this is a good day. I think it has, was a few days ago. Yeah, this was only 11th, so it's like 5 days ago. I think this situation has become a little bit more rocky since then. I don't know if the ceasefire is going to continue to be held or not. I suppose we'll find out next week when I do my research into the top stories for next week that I want to bring on the show. And I imagine this will probably be one of them, because if this does fall apart, I'm sure it will be news. But it seems to be a little bit rocky, but they have agreed on some kind of ceasefire. This is obviously a landmark situation. Apparently it's just going to be for 30 days. So the war could resume. Although this ceasefire may be the beginnings of a peace talk. It often does become that. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, everyone! Let's try and avoid World War III here. But yeah, everything's been hotting up a little bit lately with the Ukraine situation. Trump has obviously had some harsh words for Zelensky. There's been some friction there. Seems like Ukraine have been bolstered by the EU, but if they're willing to do a ceasefire, if Russia are also willing to do a ceasefire on some level, then, you know, it could be that both have basically taken enough damage as it is, and they're both maybe looking to come to the table now, because they're both, let's face it, they're both kind of struggling. I think Russia probably does have the upper hand at this point, but they've still taken significant damage from this, so, you know, it has been tough, but okay, let's hear the clip and see what they've got to say.
Today we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation. I want to personally we both want to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, His Majesty, for hosting us, for making this possible. They've been instrumental in this process, and we're very grateful to them for hosting us here today. And hopefully we'll take this offer now to the Russians, and we hope that they'll say yes, to peace. The ball is now in their court. And but again, the president's objective here is, number one, above everything else, he wants the war to end, And I think today Ukraine has taken a concrete step in that regard. We hope the Russians will reciprocate. Today,
right, so in this situation, it hadn't been fully okayed, I guess, with the Russians. And that's why it's probably still rocky. So we'll get some info on that for next week, I guess, and see how that's playing out. But hopefully we can get ourselves some peace in I was going to say the Middle East, but more like Middle Europe. But yeah, hopefully that comes up. But it's not all roses. It's not all roses on the global landscape, because for the first time, Russia, China, and Iran will hold a joint high-level meeting in Beijing in 2 days, which was yesterday, to discuss Iran's nuclear program and Trump's threats. So essentially the idea being that they're going to meet up, and I'm assuming they are going to essentially try to facilitate Iran to develop nuclear weapons. They've been pretty close in the past several times, thanks to Obama's deals with Iran. So, you know, they've been struggling with that since then, since Trump put a squash on that. But now it seems like Putin and Xi Jinping want to, you know, help Iran along with some nuclear weapons. And really, who's going to stop them at this point? Like, I expect that this will probably go ahead. And this is definitely taking us down the road towards World War III a lot more, for sure. Because if they have the capability to fire them at Israel, it's over, man. It's over. I mean, and Israel will not allow that to happen, and America will probably not allow that to happen. So this kind of move, if they go ahead with it, will probably spark World War III. That will probably cause Israel to instigate a war against Iran, I would imagine, and America too, probably. It would, yeah, it'd be insane. And also, we've got more calls for nuclear weapons from Polish President Andrzej Duda. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Calls on the US to place nuclear weapons in Poland as a deterrent against Russia. Russia placed nuclear weapons in Belarus at the end of 2023, so he wants some nuclear weapons there too. So we're looking at nuclear warfare, not just in the Middle East, potentially, but also in Europe, within Europe's borders as well. Not looking good, guys! It's not looking good. Oh, God. It's fucking... It's just... all we can do is drink at this point. You know what I mean? Oh, God. Oh, you love it. We all love it, you know. But anyway, to end the show on a high note, the conspiracy theorists are vindicated yet again. And it has been revealed that in 2020, the German intelligence service, the BND, has assumed that the corona outbreak originated in a laboratory in Wuhan, China. The German chancellery kept this secret from the public. People who assume the same were labeled conspiracy theorists. And yeah, I mean, it's actually been confirmed at this point, and it was obvious from the beginning that this was the case. And it was obvious not only... I mean, people say lab leak. I go one step further. I say it was deliberately leaked. It was deliberately let out of the lab. I think it was let out of the lab purposefully to give some level of... what do you call it? Plausible deniability. And to kind of avoid sparking off a war for the biochemical attack that it was against the world. But, you know, that's just my opinion, by the way. But I do, personally, I do believe that to be true. I think this was a biochemical attack on the world from China to orchestrate this change, this paradigm change in power, from America to China to Russia, to upend the petrodollar, to do all of these wonderful things in the world. And we are yet to, this is all new, this is all blossoming in front of our eyes, and we will really see the end of it in the next 5 to 10 years. And they are flirting with World War III to do it. And we may even have World War III to do it as well. That is also on the table. As we saw last week when Xi Jinping said he was ready to fight any kind of war, be they tariff wars or literal physical boots on the ground wars. So, you know, and we can all sit around and say, oh, this is all political posturing and stuff like that, but I just don't believe in all that. I think that is actually a very lazy way of thinking. We're talking about psychopaths and narcissists here. To rule out war is a fool's thing in my mind. I'm not saying it's for definite, but I do think to not take some of this somewhat on face value, to not understand that they are trying to make legitimate threats here, I think is a mistake. And I think not understanding that this was an attack is a mistake. I think the more that we get these things to say, I mean, I think, like I say, I think it was confirmed that it was a lab leak anyway. The American intelligence agencies say that. They went public saying that. I'm pretty sure. I think even the British ones did as well. But to know that, like, intelligence services basically got it from day one and basically put a stop on people even speaking about it or trying to acknowledge that as being the case, you know, it's a spit in the face, and we need to understand that these people are not for our best interests. You know, it's just another straw on the camel's back before it breaks. And you know, hopefully it does break eventually. I feel like it's pretty close. It feels pretty close. I've never seen societies more awake to the corruption around them. Like, growing up, there was people that knew about it. Obviously, people would say things, oh, politicians are all bastards, aren't they? You know, it is a common thing for people to be, like, politically apathetic and stuff. But honestly, I do think people for a very long time have been fairly ignorant of politics, especially in the UK. There's been some hardcore political people, but otherwise, in terms of the general public, it's almost like people have kind of just been in a bit of a daydream, it feels like, when it comes to politics and the world, or trying to understand things around there. I think there's been a lot of people in the UK have just kind of taken it for granted that we just kind of have this country, we have this standard of life, and that's it. And people have kind of been very complacent with that, and regardless of how they've been abused with it. And because of that, that abuse has gone on for so long that now it's reached a breaking point where I think there could be radical issues that go on within the UK in the next 10 years, potentially. You know, it seems like it could be swinging that way in certain respects. So yeah, it's scary. It's scary where everything is leading. All these, I do think there are breaking points that can be reached, and I think we're close to reaching them. I think now I've like I say, I've never seen before so many people in society being more aware of this stuff. Now, not all of them are rational. Some of them are just jumping on every conspiracy. In fact, a lot of people are doing that. They're jumping on some of the right conspiracies, but they're jumping on a lot of crazy shit too. And so that kind of destroys their credibility a lot of times, because it just feels like they'll believe anything. But when a lot of people realize they're being lied to in a more profound way than they ever thought before, when they're actually met with the reality of it, I can understand why they have such a heavy swing into the other direction. You know, they have such a heavy, where they're like, oh fuck, well I can't trust anything anymore. So anything that's counter to like the common narrative must be untrue. It's like, no, there are still like truths. It's like, it's not that the news is constantly lying to you. It's that there are particular issues and places where they will, because there is political advantage for them to do so. Right? It's not that every single thing is like that. Although a lot of it is, I would say it's like a good chunk. It's like 40% maybe, or 50% of the stuff that news outlets put out is some kind of has some kind of leaning, some kind of agenda to it as to why they're running that story and stuff. But that doesn't mean everything they say. It doesn't mean that like certain events aren't happening. You know, if they report on the DNC taking place, the DMC took place. If a battle takes place, the battle probably took place. You know what I mean? Like it's not like every single thing is a lie. It's just that like the way that they frame things, or the way that the report, or the stories that they choose to report on, you know, all those things are like the way that they filter information to you. But yes, anyway, I haven't got much more to say about that, but I've not got a lot of hope for what's going on. The more I do the news every week, the less hope I have for the world. It seems like we're going down a downwards trajectory. There's some W's, but too many L's for it to be able to be hopeful at the moment. But hey, hopefully things do work out. That would be cool. Wouldn't that be cool, guys, if everything just worked out? I'd love that. Fortunately, it's probably not going to be that simple, but hey, hopefully it doesn't result in World War III. It may still be messy. But hopefully it's not World War III levels of messy, because that will be very bad for everybody. But anyway, on that cheery note, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for Mischief getting in the chat there. I appreciate everybody who watches. Everyone who, please like the stream. Please subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter and everything. Christ Scourge. You can see me argue with women every day. And yeah, that's it. That's the show. Thank you very much. I would like to have more segments. Like I say, I'm trying to figure this out better. Also, I haven't done thumbnails because my pirated version of Photoshop, I guess there's some kind of update that happened recently, but it flagged it as being fraudulent, basically. So it's deactivated itself. So I need to replace that somehow. I'll figure that out. I'll get thumbnails made, and I need to start making them before I actually do the show. So I will get on my thumbnail game. I will get on the thumbnail game because I need the thumbnails. I know the thumbnails will help my viewership a lot. But at the minute, I'm just running into some technical issues. So fuck it. I'm still gonna do the show. The show will happen. I'm just not gonna have very good thumbnails for a little bit. But I will work on that. We're still rough around the edges, but you know, we're working on it. We're working on it, guys. Anyway, thank you again, and I'll see you next week. 8 p.m. or thereabouts. 8 p.m. or thereabouts, UK time on a Sunday. I'll see you there.